and welcome to the Lillian McMorris Show. We are so happy that you have joined us right here on COX 96. Giving back to our community, that's what we do. We love to educate and entertain. So you'll find out lots of things that are happening right here in our community, and you'll also find different people that I'll highlight now and then. And that kind of drives us right now into a person that I met somewhere around 1999, 2000. And when you look at him now, you'll say, well, how old was he then? Well, think about this. He was the youngest person on the board of directors for the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce and the youngest person on the board for United Way. And being I've been working in this community for eons, obviously our paths crossed. And at that time, he was my guest on AM Southern Nevada. And now he's all grown up. He's going to be 30 this year, a multimillionaire. But we're going to talk about his journey. The journey from the south side of Chicago to the top, the epitome, being the best person that he can be. So please meet Dr. Farrah Gray. You don't look any different. You know that, right? It may be a little taller, but that's it.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I am so happy.
I'm getting old, though.
No, please.
September 9th, 30 years old.
30 years old. Oh, so you're getting old? Okay. You get old. I'm getting better.
But you are getting better. And like they say, good black don't crack and brown
sticks
around.
And we are here. That's
yes.
right. And we are here. I want to start, number one, this is amazing. He's a businessman, an investor, a philanthropist, an author, a columnist, and motivational speaker. And we're going to add to that a blogger, because we're going to talk about that in a minute. Because all these things, yes, but you know, the internet now, that's our portal to everywhere. And you have got it made on the internet. I mean, grace, God has blessed you. God has blessed you.
1.1 million fans on Facebook, an average of 2 million views daily to farrahgray.com.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to make sure we give that website address so you can go see everything that's on there. Not only is it motivational, but also inspirational and newsworthy, educational, all the things that we do right here on the show, the epitome thereof on his website. But I want to start out with why? I mean, you were raised on Chicago's South Side, meaning you made it against all odds. What drove you at 6 years old to go out and say, I'm going to find something and make a business and I'm going to do this?
Well, you're absolutely correct. According to statistics, I'm supposed to either be in prison or dead, but I'm not. Mm-hmm. I continued to believe and to dream. I'll never forget, I had a teacher tell me one day, I was fixing my clothes, and I said I was going to be a millionaire entrepreneur one day. Mm-hmm. And she was used to people saying what they wanted to be. And she looked at me. She said, you know, no, you're not. She said, you're poor and your family's poor.
Oh, my.
And she pointed towards McDonald's, and she said, you better go find somebody to work for.
Oh.
And I remember coming home to my grandmother, and I said, Grandma, you know, the teacher told me I couldn't be successful. I can't be a millionaire one day.
Right.
And my grandmother said, don't ever listen to her.
That's right.
She said, never allow anyone's perception of you to become your reality. And prophetically, she said, if you want to put an end to homelessness, if you want a mansion, if you want to become a millionaire, whatever it is that you want to achieve, she said, wake up every morning and say, why not me?
Why not me?
Have a dream. She said, why not me? She said, because nobody's better than you. And everybody puts on their pants in the morning, one leg at a time. She said, unless they jump in them.
That's
so I
good.
said, thank you for that, Grandma. So my pivotal moment was when my mother had a heart attack.
Okay.
And the doctor said that she would not live. So obviously he confused his MD with GOD.
Oh,
we know
yes,
that God is the only one that can tell us when our final and appointed hour will be.
That's true.
But that stressed my family. Mm-hmm. And I went out one day and I said, I'm not going to come home until I've helped my mom pay the bills.
Oh.
And many are familiar with through my books, and I want to thank everybody who has supported
Yeah, we're going to talk about millionaire in just a minute.
Yes.
But I want to get to the pet rocks.
Absolutely. So, you know, I talk about the fact in my books that the fact I just felt motivated to do something to help my mother. Mm-hmm. And I saw the oversized rocks in the streets.
Okay.
Which, again, like I said, I talk about in the book. And I started painting them. And I would knock on people's doors. And I would ask them, would you like to buy this? And people look at me as if to say, "Not the rock that was in front of my door." I was like, "Yeah, but see, it's different now.
It's different now.
You can use it as bookends, paperweights, and door stoppers." So that's when I learned that entrepreneurship isn't about inventing something that the world depends on in order to be successful. You and I both know at least one or two people that have an idea and they're saving themselves forever. Oh, I've got this big idea. And they don't do anything else with their lives. They don't do anything
about it,
but
though.
It's this big idea. Entrepreneurship is not just about one big idea. It's about small ideas that you actually focus into fruition and you practically apply yourself.
And that's so important, because at that age, you knew how to practically apply yourself in order to bring home money to help your mom. Now, tell me about this lotion thing. Handmade, homemade lotion, home-mixed lotion.
That was the next business.
Okay.
Once the seed for entrepreneurship was planted and I made $50 selling hand-painted rocks.
Yes, I've read that.
You couldn't tell me that I wasn't balling. I was rich. I had 5,000 pennies as I saw it.
Okay.
So my next business was, I was always thinking of ideas. I got out the shower one day, and some of you can relate. You know, I never had a full bottle of lotion. It was more than what I needed. So I said, oh, man. Then I added a little bit of baby powder.
Okay.
So obviously somebody who would sell hand-painted rocks, you would probably tell that I was off to my next business.
Absolutely.
And my older brother's name is Andre. He knocked on my door. He said, what are you doing? I said, shh. I said, I'm creating. He said, what are you creating? I said, I'm getting ready to sell these lotions. I'm going to start a lotion business. He said, fool, you can't sell people used lotion.
You use lotion?
I said, it's not used yet because nobody has used it.
Right.
So I went out and I bottled up my little lotion. It was called First Impression and made $9 selling my lotion. So that was First Impression. So I continued to ignore what was told to me by the naysayers.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
some people, and this is my advice to everyone who has a dream, some people are so negative that they will tell you no and put you down.
Absolutely.
Some people are so negative they can walk into a dark room and develop. Okay?
Absolutely.
So you have to get rid of those people and only surround yourself with positive people. As the legendary rapper Chuck D once said, if you can't change the people around you, then change the people around you.
Right.
Surround yourself with people that pick you up
Right.
and that believe in you when you don't believe in yourself.
Exactly.
You need those people.
How was your family reacting to this?
Well, I didn't grow up with my father in the house. My father was a black leader and activist, Khalid Muhammad, and my mom left him when I was very young.
Okay.
So she said, listen, activism doesn't pay the bills. I've got to feed these children. So I only got to see him a few times a year, but it was always quality time. Okay. And my mother was always encouraging of the budding entrepreneur. And my grandmother would always encourage me, and my older brother and my sister, may her soul rest in peace, who passed from AML leukemia, which prompted me ultimately to become the spokesman for the National Marrow Donor Program.
Right.
And
we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yes, anyone who's inflicted with any form of blood cancer will need a transplant.
Correct.
So my family was rather supportive, but I had other family members that weren't. That told me,
that's the story.
Absolutely
not.
That told me,
you're crazy.
What are you doing? You're crazy. Then I started a business club with my friends, and then their parents were saying that I was selling people, meaning their kids, my friends, a dream of becoming entrepreneurs, and it's not possible.
Right. Go to school and get in your books and go find a job.
And not only that, we're in the projects on the south side of Chicago, so they felt as if, it wasn't fathomable that their child could be the next doctor, attorney. I had a vision, and I wanted to encourage others.
And speaking of visions, we're going to take a little break right now. We're going to come back more with Dr. Farrah Gray. We'll talk a little bit more about his visions, about some of the pitfalls that he did fall into, because unfortunately all paths are not paved with gold. But somehow we always manage to make it out. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. The Lillian McMorris Show is produced by Tego & Associates Productions. Multi-camera shoots either in our studio or on location. That's Tego & Associates Productions. Give us a call at 702-509-7728. The inaugural Her/She Driving the Dream charity event weekend to benefit girls in foster care, August 15th through the 17th at the Revere Golf Club. For more information, go to hershegroup.org or call 702-574-4600. 1409. And welcome back. We're spending a little time in finding out the story of Dr. Farrah Gray. And the reason I wanted to do this is there's a huge buzz all over the universe about role models. And unfortunately, most of the role models that our young people have is unattainable. But if you set your heart to it and your mind to it, you may not be that football player or that basketball player. How about using this right here? That's called a brain. And that's exactly what this young man did. And I think we were to the point of, we were talking about your family. Yeah. But let's talk about some of the gray areas, because although you had those gray areas, and I want to talk about that, you were a millionaire.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. No pun intended. You were a millionaire by 14. So I want to get to that story. So I'm sure that that was not an easy route.
It was not, but I want to address the role models. In the inner city, we only grow up to be what we can see.
Okay.
So it's important for us to knock down those walls so that the youth can see all of what's possible.
Right.
Which we'll talk about the Farrah Gray Foundation that I created to really knock down those walls and to say you can be a Lillian. You can be a Farrah Gray. It is possible, and success runs in our race. And that's very important. So in becoming a millionaire, a lot of people say, well, how'd you become a millionaire? I didn't even realize it was a big deal.
Right, no, you were 14 years old, for Christ's sake.
It was actually the media talking to me. They were like, wait a minute, you've done $1.5 million in sales with your food company. You opened up an office on Wall Street. You raised a committed $1 million for your student venture capital fund. Wow, how'd you do that? I was just so busy doing.
Right.
And I always...
Yeah, where'd you get that idea about the food? The strawberry, the vanilla.
Yes, pancake syrup. Growing up, my grandmother used to make our syrup for us.
Okay.
Because we weren't balling. We were on public assistance, so we didn't always have the money to just go out and buy the extras.
Buy some syrup, right.
Exactly. So grandma used to make it. And I used to always hang out in the kitchen with grandma. Still do. Learning all the tricks of the trade.
Right.
So she taught me how to make syrup. And I started adding different flavors and taking it to the next
level.
You
and your additions and subtractions.
Yes, add a twist to a twist. So with Far Out Foods, what I decided to do was I got a book called From Kitchen to Market.
Okay.
And I started networking. I went to the Food Marketing Institute convention. I started introducing myself to people. I started passing out my little product sheets and carrying my samples in my briefcase and handing it to people. Because I tell people all the time.
You take a briefcase and take some syrup out for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Abraham Lincoln said you have to hustle. Hustle is doing something that everyone is absolutely certain it cannot be done. And like Abraham Lincoln said, there will be things that will come to those who wait, but only what's left by those who hustle.
Okay.
So you better get out there and make it happen for yourself, because as the legend and the icon Oprah Winfrey said, if you're waiting for someone to help you, to do something for you, it will not happen. You are wasting your time. Take your own life and decide what you want to be.
And see, you did this though. You did this though before these people. I mean, not before Abraham Lincoln. I'm sorry, but before the Oprah Winfreys of the world made those statements and people listened to. This was something that was there and instilled by your grandmother. A lot of that was pushed by her. You think of all of her good words, and you say, I can do that. I will do that.
Absolutely.
And you did it.
I did. And seeing those kind of positive examples through a black enterprise, through those examples saying it is possible, I started thinking, wait a minute, it's possible for me to become a millionaire by the age of 14. Now, here's the question. How did I do it? I found, it was rather easy. I found what God put me here to do. I believe the two most important times in anybody's life is when we were born and when we find out why we were born. What did God put you here to do?
Right.
Why are you here? What is your purpose?
Right.
You know, because so many people are caught up in just paying the bills. I would say a career is what you're paid for, but a calling is what you're made for.
And I live by that because I know this is my calling.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you walk in purpose, as Dr. Bertice Berry says, you collide with your destiny. So I started working things that came natural to me, being able to cook. I loved business. I was fascinated by how business is structured, how it operates, how you can take an idea and turn it into a bona fide money-making business with hard work, determination, I believe a goal, a vision, and also prayer. Because as Paul said, that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things to come. Yes. So that's how I became a millionaire, really networking, introducing myself to people.
And give us just briefly your step up to Wall Street.
I realized that Wall Street was pretty much the place that if Wall Street decides to cough or sneeze, the rest of the world,
it's going to cough and sneeze.
That's
right.
The rest of the world is sick. It's not well.
Right.
So Wall Street is powerful.
Right.
And I wanted to feel big time. So I said, I'm going to get an office on Wall Street and let people know that that is our destination, that yes, I came from a poor neighborhood. I didn't have a rich uncle or rich aunt.
Right.
I didn't have people to
no,
just
you
give us
worked
that
your
trickle-down
way
wealth.
up. You've got your steps.
Absolutely.
And that's what's kind of painted in your Millionaire book. You give what you went through to get where you are.
You know, Millionaire is everybody's favorite book. I'm so thankful, but I've written so many books.
I know.
Since
I
then.
want to talk about all of them, but we don't have a whole lot of time.
Yes, Millionaire was published by the people who did Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Right. And you also had something in Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes, I was contributing author
That's
to
right.
Chicken Soup, the African American Soul, along with Maya Angelou,
right,
and several others. So. So yes, Millionaire. Actually, I had purchased Inner City Magazine from Inner City Broadcasting. May his soul rest in peace, Percy Sutton. Passed the baton on to his son, Pepe Sutton, who was a business mentor of mine. So after I sold my food company, I decided that I wanted to be a part of media. I wanted to get into media. So once I was featured in the magazine, I said, you know, I heard that it might have been for sale, and I said, I'm interested in at least purchasing, if not the entire magazine, would you sell some of it to
part
me?
of it, right.
So I bought 80% of the magazine. And Inner City Broadcasting, as you know, home of its Showtime at the Apollo, WBLS radio station. And then I did a radio show called NPR.
NPR, right.
And I got a call. I was 18 years old. And the call came in and said, hi, we published Chicken Soup for the Soul, and we heard your story. How are you doing this? I said, well, it's no big deal. I'm just doing it.
I'm just doing it. This is just what I do.
You know, you became a millionaire by the age of 14. I was like, yeah, okay, no big deal.
But I didn't realize that. I was just doing what I love.
They said, you've got to write a book about your life story. And 2 weeks before it came out, the legend, Robin Roberts, had me on Good Morning America. The book became, actually in 2004, an international bestseller 2 weeks before it was released.
Right, right. Well, I'm so happy to have you. We're going to take another break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about your foundation.
Yeah.
I want to know about your foundation, your motivational speaking, and I'd like you to give a few words to the young people today.
Absolutely.
Because you saw things differently at the age that our young people are kind of rebellious and going to the left now. And so it's important that we spread the word of positiveness and that you can make it if you want to. We're going to take a little break. We're talking to Dr. Farrah Gray. We'll be right back. Grab the Lillian McMorris Show app, which will give you access to the current show, links to past segments, add your event to my community calendar. The Power Walk, fun family event that benefits Dress for Success, Saturday, July 26th at the Miracle Mile Shops. The Lillian McMorris Show is brought to you in part by Louisiana Gumbo and More, located on West Charleston. The best gumbo, fried catfish, salads, and don't forget the po' boys. That's Louisiana Gumbo and More on West Charleston. And welcome back. As forestated, we're talking to Dr. Farrah Gray. We've kind of got his story, but I want you to go get the book. We're going to find out where to find Millionaire and a couple of other of his books, which we'll briefly talk about, and then go into your motivational speaking portion. How about that?
Awesome.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about, after Millionaire, what was your next one, and what kind of gave you the mindset to go there?
I realized that after Millionaire, I was able to reach people and almost clone myself through my books. And the books now, all of them are in 24 countries, roughly 13 different languages.
Right, and I think there's a little story about Russia.
Yes.
And they took your picture off of the cover.
They sure did.
In Russia. Racism is alive, but they still got the message.
Yes.
They still got the message. And see, and that shows how pliable you are, because a lot of people would say, right, if you take my picture off, you can't do my book. Well, no.
I said, go for it.
You're still getting the message out.
As long as the potent message is the same. And that's one of inspiration. That's one that hopefully reminds people of the child spirit that's within all of us, that sees no limits, only what's possible, and only opportunities. Right.
And you know what? We all should think more like children. I mean, I guess I do, because I don't believe there's anything that I can't do. Right. Let's talk about your motivational speaking.
Yes.
When did you start that?
I've never considered myself as a motivational speaker, even though I've made millions and millions doing it.
Right.
People call me all the time and consider me an inspiration.
You are.
leader.
Your story, your life,
Yes.
the way you have lived and led, and the decisions you made are inspirational. That's what it is, because people, it's like unbelievable. Because as I said earlier, you made it against all odds. You came out of the south side of Chicago,
Right, haters,
in the projects.
And haters all the time. I mean, they attack you. Everybody has haters.
Yes.
And I always say, let your haters be your motivators and encourage the spectators. My mission in life is to, stand as a servant of God so that no man can accuse me, but God can continue to use me.
Right.
So when I realized that I had a platform and millions of fans by God's grace, I decided to actually use my platform to inspire others. And just released my latest book, which is called Comfort is the Enemy of Achievement.
Okay.
And I've learned that when we are in our comfort zone and we fear success, because everything we want is on the other side of fear.
That's
fear,
right.
of course, is an acronym for false expectations appearing real.
Right.
We have to get beyond that and say, who am I to not be great? Who am I to not be what God has ordained me to be? Because the richest place in the world is a cemetery. We never wrote the book that was within us, so we died with those gifts.
Right.
So I always encourage people to believe in themselves, and that's the key message for the youth.
Right,
That
believe
if I
in
can
yourself.
Do it,
Right.
I know that it's possible. And that's my message, is to continue to dream, continue to stay on purpose, and continue to believe. Because if you don't believe in yourself when nobody else will, kind of just very quickly, my grandmother told me a story. She said it was an 8-year-old who was in art class who was drawing a picture. Our teacher asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm drawing a picture of God. She said, well, no one knows what God looks like. The 8-year-old kept drawing, looked up and said, they will when I finish my picture. So you gotta believe.
They say, I know what God looks like. He's right here.
You don't.
You're considered a thought leader and one of the most influential speakers in the world. How do you feel about that?
Just wow. I feel that I always call it the P philosophy. I say, can God trust you with his people, with his power, with his privilege, based on your personality? How are you using your platform?
Right.
Are you using it to help and influence other people? Or are you being selfish with it? So I'm very honored, very humbled. And I just continue to motivate, continue to help, continue to inspire. They say you only reach 1%. Hopefully I'm reaching more.
And my people can tell you, I always say, if I can reach one person, I'm fine with that.
Well, you reached me. Watching you on television here in the Mississippi of the West, which is Las Vegas, I said, oh, wow, a black woman representing all of us, like Dr. Bailey and him being a pioneer. May his soul rest in peace. Who was a mentor to me as well.
Me as
Seeing
well.
you,
he knew me from when I learned to walk, actually. So yes, big shoes to fill. Yes,
absolutely. So having him as a mentor and seeing you on television, like I said, you definitely touched and inspired me, because you're a pioneer and a legend, and I thank you for all of your work.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Like you said, I feel that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. We have just a couple of minutes left. What would be your message to our young people now? Knowing what we're living in and going through, and mindsets are totally different.
As you talked about before, go for your dreams and don't just look at the entertainment industry. They force feed us. If you want to be a brain surgeon and you fail, at least you'll be a doctor. If you want to be the attorney general and you fail, at least you'll be a lawyer.
Attorney. That's
but if you want to be a basketball player and a rapper and you fail, you're just going to be broke at home.
Oh my.
Okay?
That's a reality statement right there.
If you drive a Land, and once you get money, save. If you drive a Land Rover or a Land Cruiser and have a landlord, something's wrong. So we have to invest.
Yes.
As my generation is coming into untold amounts of money that the generations before us didn't even see. Those contracts didn't exist. And then we're losing it the next day because we're trying to make it rain. I always say new money is always trying to make it rain, while old money is saving for a rainy day.
Exactly.
So that would be my advice.
And that's wonderful advice. You have a website, and on your website are inspiration. There's lots of inspiration. Yes. Lots of motivational sayings.
And entertainment now.
And entertainment. Yes. On Facebook, every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, there is a motivational saying that will come up.
Yes.
Is that you?
Absolutely.
Is that
1,000,000%. When I first got online, it wasn't me. I had my staff doing it.
Okay.
But I think that when people are familiar with you, I mean, my first appearance was on television like 20 years ago.
Right.
So people are familiar with how I communicate. So as soon as I started, which has been for the past couple of years,
yes,
the
tell us
just
briefly
went
about
through
the blogging.
roof.
I think I got like a minute left, but
Yes,
the blogging, because I mean you are the net at this point.
I'm so honored. The Facebook page alone reaches over 100 million people. According to Google Analytics and Alexa, I have now passed BET.com, Essence.com as far as traffic, over 2 million views daily.
Yeah, I looked it up and they said your website was voted one of the most inspirational sites on the net.
I'm humbled by that.
Yes, so you've got whoever follows you has some huge shoes to fill. Huge. And it has been such a pleasure talking to you. I'm honored that you are here and, took the time, because I know you're busy. And right now you're working on that big birthday party.
I am in Hollywood. So,
tell us about it.
Well, as you know, turning 30.
Right.
I'm going to be doing a reality show as well. So I'm honored that so many people want to celebrate my 30th birthday with me, and I'll have gifts. I'm a giver, so I have gifts, for others. And of course, we'll be able to also talk about the foundation work, but we got to do a part 2 to this, I'm sure.
Okay, that's right. We got to do, because we want to talk about foundation, because I love the way that you're giving back to our young people in our community and giving back to HBCU, and that you are doing. We're having a wonderful conversation with Dr. Farrah Gray. I want to give you the website. It's farrahgray.com. It's his name, FARRAHGRAY, farrahgray.com. Also, you can reach his office as area code 702-878-8665. That's 702-878-8665. It has been such a pleasure. The phone's going to blow up. Do you have any closing words, sir?
Always remember to put God first.
That's right.
Absolutely. And everything else will fall into place.
And that's what we do. We thank you so much for watching the Lillian McMorris Show, and we enjoy highlighting, educating, and entertaining people right here in our community. You never know who you're going to meet. So always put your best foot forward. Giving back to our community, that's what we do. For more information, go to LillianMcMorrisShow.com. That's all for now, and we'll talk to you next time.